What happens when one of radio's most ruthless interviewers goes head-to-head with a member of the British royal family who thinks he can control the narrative? Well, you're about to find out. And trust me, this interview spiraled out of control, faster than anyone could have imagined. Before we dive into this absolute train wreck, make sure you hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments what you think really went down here. The tension was palpable from the moment Prince Harry walked into Howard Stern's studio. You could practically cut through the atmosphere with a knife. Howard, known for his no-holds-barred approach to interviewing, wasn't about to give the Duke of Sussex any special treatment. And Harry, well, he seemed to expect exactly that. So, Harry, Howard began, leaning back in his chair with that trademark smirk, you've been making quite a lot of noise lately about privacy in the media. Yet here you are, on my show, talking to millions of people. Help me understand the logic here. Harry shifted uncomfortably in his seat, clearly not expecting such a direct opening. Well, Howard, there's a difference between choosing to share your story and having it stolen from you by tabloids who twist everything for profit. Right, Howard nodded, but his tone suggested he wasn't buying it. So when you do a Netflix documentary, a book deal, multiple interviews, that's you controlling your narrative. But when a photographer takes a picture of you at a coffee shop, that's an invasion of privacy. Do I have that right? The prince's jaw tightened visibly. It's not that simple, Howard. You're oversimplifying a very complex situation. Am I, though? Howard pressed, leaning forward now, because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you want to have your cake and eat it too. You want the benefits of being royal when it suits you, and you want to play the victim when it doesn't. Harry's face flushed red. That's completely unfair, and you know it. I've sacrificed everything to protect my family from the same machine that killed my mother. Whoa, Howard held up his hands. Let's pump the brakes here, Your Highness. You've sacrificed everything. You live in a $16 million mansion in Montecito. Your wife has her own production deals. You're sitting here promoting your various projects. What exactly have you sacrificed? My relationship with my family, my homeland, my sense of security, Harry shot back, his voice rising. Things you couldn't possibly understand. Howard laughed, not kindly. My sense of security? Buddy, you've got more security than the president. And as for your family, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you write an entire book trashing them? Didn't you go on television and basically call them racists? I never called them racists, Harry protested. No, you just heavily implied it, and let everyone else draw that conclusion. Very brave of you. Howard's sarcasm was cutting. Tell me something. When you were writing that book, did you think about how your father would feel reading about you calling his wife names? Or how your brother would react to you sharing private conversations? Harry was fidgeting now, clearly rattled. Those stories needed to be told. The truth needed to come out. The truth, according to who? You, Howard, wasn't letting up. See, here's what I don't get. You say you want privacy, but you keep talking. You say you want to protect your family, but you keep exposing them. You say you want peace, but you keep stirring the pot. Which Harry am I supposed to believe? This interview is supposed to be about my charity work. Harry attempted to redirect. Oh, is it now? Howard grinned wickedly. Because your people pitched this as an opportunity for you to set the record straight about recent controversies. So, which is it, Harry? Are we here to talk about charity? Or are we here because you've got more scores to settle? The prince looked genuinely flustered now. I thought this would be a more respectful conversation. Respectful. Howard's eyebrows shot up. You want respect. Earn it. You can't spend years attacking your family in public and then waltz in here expecting kid gloves. This isn't the BBC, sweetheart. This is reality. Harry's hands were clenched in his fists now. You don't know what you're talking about. You have no idea what it's like to grow up in that environment, to lose your mother the way I did, to watch history repeat itself. You're right, I don't, Howard said, his tone becoming more aggressive. But I do know what it's like to take responsibility for your choices. I know what it's like to build something from nothing, instead of being handed everything on a silver platter and then complaining about it. Handed everything. Harry's voice cracked slightly. Do you think any of this has been easy? Do you think I asked for any of this? No, but you certainly capitalized on it, didn't you? Howard shot back. Every interview, every book, Every documentary, it's all about how hard your life has been. Meanwhile, there are people out there with real problems, real struggles, and they don't get multi-million-dollar deals to complain about it. The studio fell silent for a moment. Harry was visibly struggling to maintain his composure, while Howard sat back, clearly enjoying the discomfort he was causing. "You know what your problem is, Harry?" Howard continued, not allowing the silence to last long. "You want to be seen as both a victim and a hero. You want sympathy for your struggles and praise for your courage. But you can't have both. At some point, you have to pick a lane." Harry looked directly into the camera as if appealing to the audience. "People can see through this. Howard, they know what you're doing." "What am I doing exactly?" Howard challenged. "You're trying to humiliate me for entertainment value." Howard's laugh was sharp and immediate. "Buddy, if you're feeling humiliated, right now, that's on you, not me. I'm just asking questions that apparently no one else has had the guts to ask you." "Questions that no one else has had the guts to ask," Harry repeated, his voice dripping with indignation. "Or questions designed to get a reaction for your show?" Howard shrugged, completely unbothered. "Maybe both. But here's the thing, Your Royal Highness, if you can't handle the heat, maybe don't book yourself on shows known for turning up the temperature." "Did you really think you were going to come in here and get softball questions about your polo playing?" "I expected basic human decency," Harry snapped. "Basic human decency." Howard's voice rose mockingly. "That's rich, coming from someone who spent an entire book describing his stepmother as dangerous and his father as emotionally unavailable. Where was your basic human decency then?" Harry's face was now completely red. "You're twisting everything I said. That book was about healing. About breaking cycles of trauma." "Oh, please," Howard rolled his eyes dramatically. "Healing. You made millions of dollars airing your family's dirty laundry in public. If that's healing, then I'm the Queen of England. You want to know what healing looks like? It looks like private therapy, private conversations, private reconciliation, not Netflix specials and best-selling memoirs." "You clearly haven't read the book," Harry protested weakly. "Actually, I have," Howard shot back immediately, "cover to cover. And you know what I learned? That you're really, really good at playing the victim. Every story, every anecdote, every family interaction, you're always the wronged party. Brother's jealous, your father's cold, your stepmother's scheming, everyone's the problem except you." Harry stood up abruptly from his chair. "I don't have to sit here and listen to this character assassination. Sit down," Howard commanded, his voice sharp and authoritative. "You booked this interview, you promoted it on social media, your people confirmed it 3 times. You don't get to storm out because you don't like the questions." Harry remained standing, clearly torn between leaving and staying. "This isn't an interview. It's an ambush." "No, this is accountability," Howard fired back, "something you've been avoiding for years. When's the last time someone actually challenged you instead of just nodding along to your sob story?" "My sob story?" Harry's voice cracked with emotion. "My mother died when I was 12 years old. And that's tragic," Howard said, his tone softening slightly before hardening again. "But you're not 12 anymore, Harry. You're a grown man with children of your own. At what point do you stop using your mother's death as an excuse for every poor decision you make?" The gasps from the studio audience were audible. Harry looked stunned, as if he'd been physically slapped. "How dare you?" Harry whispered, voice shaking with rage. "How dare I? What? Tell you the truth." Howard wasn't backing down. "Look, I get it. Losing a parent is devastating. But millions of people lose parents and don't spend the next 2 decades making it everyone else's problem. Your mother wouldn't want you living like this, constantly angry, constantly fighting, constantly playing the victim. Don't you dare. Tell me what my mother would want." Harry's voice turned dangerous. "Why not? You've been doing it for years," Howard countered. "Every interview, every speech, every public appearance, it's always about what Diana would think, what Diana would want, how Diana would feel. You've turned your dead mother into your personal spokesperson for every grudge you hold." Harry began pacing behind his chair, clearly agitated beyond control. "You're disgusting." "I'm honest," Howard replied calmly. "There's a difference. And honestly, your mother was known for her charity work, her compassion, her ability to bring people together. Does any of that sound like what you've been doing lately?" My charity work speaks for itself, Harry said through gritted teeth. Does it though? Howard challenged. Because from what I can see, most of your recent charity work seems to involve you talking about yourself. Even your mental health advocacy somehow always circles back to your personal trauma, your personal struggles, your personal pain. When's the last time you did charity work where you weren't the center of attention? Harry stopped pacing and stared at Howard with pure hatred. You have no idea what you're talking about. Then enlighten me, Howard spread his arms wide. Tell me about the last charitable event you attended, where cameras weren't present. Tell me about the last donation you made without a press release. Tell me about the last good deed you did without making sure everyone knew about it. The silence stretched uncomfortably as Harry struggled to respond. Finally, he said, not everything has to be public. Exactly my point, Howard pounced. But with you, everything is public. Your mental health struggles, your family conflicts, your marital issues, your financial concerns. You've turned your entire life into a reality show and then have the audacity to complain about privacy. My marital issues, Harry's voice rose dangerously. What marital issues? Howard grinned like a shark smelling blood. Oh, come on, Harry. You think people don't notice? The separate appearances, the different body, language, the fact that your wife seems to have her own agenda that doesn't always include you. Leave my wife out of this, Harry warned. Why, she's put herself in this. She's doing interviews. She's got her own deals. She's making her own public statements. She's fair game, Howard said dismissively. She is not fair game, Harry's voice was now shaking with fury. Really? Because she seems to think she is. Tell me something. Does it bother you that she's become more famous than you? That when people think about your relationship, they see her as the star and you as the accessory? Harry's hands were trembling now. You don't know anything about my marriage. I know what I see, Howard continued, mercilessly. I see a woman who's very good at playing the game you claim to hate. I see someone who's mastered the art of victimhood even better than you have. And I see a man who's so desperate to prove he made the right choice that he'll burn down everything he used to care about to defend it. Stop, Harry said quietly, but his voice carried a threat. Stop. What? Telling the truth. Your wife has single-handedly destroyed your relationship with your family, isolated you from your friends, and convinced you that everyone who questions her motives is a racist. And you've gone along with it because admitting you were wrong would mean admitting that maybe, just maybe, your family was trying to protect you. Harry slammed his hand down on the table between them, the sound echoing through the studio. Enough. The sound of Harry's hand hitting the table reverberated through the studio like a gunshot. The audience sat in stunned silence as the prince stood there, chest heaving, face flushed with rage, staring down at Howard, who remained completely calm in his chair. There it is, Howard said quietly, a satisfied smile spreading across his face. There's the real Harry, not the polished media-trained prince, not the compassionate humanitarian, just an angry, entitled man who can't handle being challenged. You pushed me to this, Harry said, his voice barely controlled. No, I revealed this, Howard corrected. This anger, this entitlement, this inability to accept criticism, it was always there. I just gave it a platform to show itself. And you know what? I bet this is exactly how you act behind closed doors when things don't go your way. Harry was breathing heavily, trying to regain his composure. This interview is over, is it, Howard? Leaned back casually, because we still have 20 minutes left, and you contractually agreed to stay for the full hour. But sure, walk out. Prove my point about how you handle adversity. Harry looked toward the exit, then back at Howard, clearly torn. The cameras captured every moment of his internal struggle. You know what I think happened? Howard continued, sensing Harry's hesitation. I think you came in here expecting me to be impressed by your title, your tragic backstory, your whole wounded prince act. You thought you'd get the same softball treatment you get everywhere else. But here's the thing, Harry. Titles don't impress me. Tragedy doesn't get you a free pass. And your act? Well, I've seen better acting in community theater. Harry slowly sat back down, but his posture remained rigid. What do you want from me, Howard? I want honesty, Howard said simply. Just once, I want you to admit that maybe, just maybe, you're not the victim in every situation. That maybe some of the problems in your life are of your own making. I've made mistakes, Harry said through gritted teeth. Have you? Because every time you talk about your mistakes, you immediately follow it up with an excuse. You left the royal family, but it was because they were racist. You wrote a book trashing your family, but it was for healing. You moved to America, but it was for your safety. You do interviews like this, but it's to set the record straight. When do you just own a decision without making yourself the victim of circumstances? Harry stared at the table for a long moment. When he looked up, his eyes were filled with barely contained rage. You want me to own something? Fine. I own the fact that I trusted you to be professional. Howard laughed loudly. Harry, this is exactly the professional treatment everyone else gets on this show. The difference is, most people don't expect special treatment because of who their grandmother was. Don't bring my grandmother into this, Harry warned. Why not? You bring her into everything else. Every speech, every interview, every public appearance, you invoke her memory to justify whatever you're doing. Tell me something. Do you think she'd be proud of the man you've become? The question hung in the air like a bomb waiting to explode. Harry's face went through a series of emotions, shock, hurt, rage, before settling on something that looked almost like desperation. She'd understand, he said weakly. Would she, though? Howard pressed. Because from what I remember about Queen Elizabeth, she valued duty, service, loyalty to family. She kept her personal feelings private and put the institution above her own desires. Does that sound like anyone you know? The institution failed me, Harry said, but his voice lacked conviction now. Or maybe you failed it, Howard suggested. Maybe when things got tough, instead of fighting to change it from within, you took the easy way out. You ran away, blamed everyone else, and convinced yourself you were the hero of your own story. Harry's hands were shaking visibly now. You don't understand the pressure. The pressure of what? Having everything handed to you. Having people care about your opinions because of your bloodline rather than your accomplishments. Having a platform to make a difference that billions of people would kill for. Howard's voice was rising now. Yeah, that sounds really tough, Harry. It is tough, Harry insisted, but he sounded like a child now. No, what's tough is being a single mother working 3 jobs to feed her kids. What's tough is being a veteran with PTSD who can't get proper health care. What's tough is being an immigrant trying to build a life in a new country. What you have isn't tough, Harry. What you have is privilege. And you've spent years complaining about it instead of using it responsibly. Harry buried his face in his hands. When he looked up, his eyes were red. Why are you doing this to me? Because someone needs to, Howard said, his tone becoming almost gentle. Everyone else in your life either worships you because of your title or enables you because they're getting something from you. No one's been honest with you in years, and it shows. So this is you being kind, Harry asked bitterly. This is me being real, Howard replied. And maybe if more people in your life had been real with you instead of telling you what you wanted to hear, you wouldn't be sitting here looking like a lost child who just realized the world doesn't revolve around him. Harry stood up again, this time more slowly. I think we're done here. We're done when I say we're done, Howard said firmly. Sit down, Harry. Let's finish this conversation like adults. Like adults, Harry's voice cracked. You've spent the last hour tearing me apart for your audience's entertainment. No, I've spent the last hour holding up a mirror, and you don't like what you see, Howard corrected. But here's the thing, that reflection doesn't change just because you walk away from the mirror. You'll still be the same entitled, self-pitying, blame-shifting person, whether you're in this studio or not. Harry stood frozen for a moment, looking utterly defeated. The cameras captured every angle of his humiliation as he struggled to find words. You know what the saddest part is? Howard continued, delivering what would be his final blow. You could have been great. You had everything. You needed to make a real difference in the world. But instead of rising above your circumstances, you let them define you. Instead of being the prince your mother raised you to be, you became a cautionary tale about what happens when privilege meets victimhood. Harry's voice was barely a whisper when he finally spoke. Are we really done now? Howard nodded. Yeah, Harry, we're done. As the prince walked toward the exit, Howard addressed the camera directly. And that, folks, is what happens when entitlement meets reality. Sometimes the truth hurts, but it's still the truth. The studio remained silent as Harry disappeared through the exit, leaving behind one of the most explosive interviews in television history. Howard turned back to his microphone, completely unfazed by what had just transpired. So what did you think of this absolutely brutal takedown? Did Howard go too far? Or was this exactly what Prince Harry needed to hear? Let me know in the comments below what you think really motivated Howard to go this hard on a member of the royal family. And don't forget to subscribe for more shocking